Welcome to Wake and Wellness. Today we have another amazingly transformative episode for you all. I'm very excited. I got it while I was doing meditation. I was sitting there sort of swimming through all these different ideas for what I should do. And I had a million different ideas and I couldn't really choose one. I was thinking maybe awareness, and that's going to be the next one. But what came up was needing to be bigger than your problems. And there were many instances during the meditation as I was very focused just on self and what really rose when I was thinking about myself and things that I would like to accomplish, accomplish, and it really made me think problems. It made me come to the word problems, and from there the reason why we need to be bigger than our problems. First off, our problems, if they are properly viewed, should be the stepping stones and the challenges that allows us to become the next version or the better version of ourselves. And that's mainly important on a more grand scale and outside of just ourselves, and showing that our problems are truly bigger than us. It should be helping us to become the person that can solve an issue and a common issue that most people experience, or some kind of dis-ease, true discomfort, not just, I don't feel comfortable and I want to feel comfortable right now, but true discomfort that affects quality of life. To some degree, our problems should be arising out of some area that we are trying to learn to be triumphant over. That was really the word I was looking at when I was thinking about accomplish. And when we are able to champion that area, and we can go, I've learned how to get over depression, or I've conquered addiction, I've learned how to work through many different areas that are common issues for people every day, no matter the demographic. That is the real goal, and what our issues should really be. That should be the real, I was gonna say focus, or that should be the real issue. When we're facing these, we typically look at them from the standpoint of, oh, I have this bill, or I have to do this thing. But like, what really should be, and if we're thinking, and that's not to say that those are not real problems, because those are the realest problems. But what I'm saying is, almost our guiding issue should really be, first off, that should be more grand than any other issue we're having, because it should be addressing the issue at heart. It should be really shaking us to our core, and while we're truly not at peace in terms of, this is something that I feel I am meant to solve or have a hand in, or be able to play a true role in and affect some actual change. That is what should be most core shaking, or the most abrupt issue. And if we want to look at it, I understand, because if we want to go through Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of course we need the most basic of needs met before we can actually really get to, purpose, or get to the more higher order needs. So I definitely understand if we want to have that argument. But what I'm really saying is, at the core, is we need to be in alignment with our core and what our core is truly trying to present. And so when we have are our problems, and I say that we need to be bigger than our problems, or really this came to me, so I'm not even gonna try to act like I'm trying to, I came up with this and I'm just putting this out there. This was more of an insight, and it gave me some inner wisdom to realize that again, our problems are bigger than us. It's bigger than us. And what that ultimately means is that your problems are meant for you to be triumphant over so that you can teach someone else how to work out those solutions. And without tripping up over those same steps, we can teach. So therefore evolution is occurring. And that's why our problems are so much bigger than us in this little bubble and sit around like, oh, I have this issue, I have this issue. We are meant to rise above that and think of the real issue. What am I truly put here to do so that I can service those that need this? There are people that don't know you don't have to walk around in the world mad 24/7. And or they know it, but they don't know how. So they need somebody to do that. There are people that need to learn how to get in tune with their soul, or how to make communication with the deep version of self. There are people that need to learn how to tap into source and learn how to, or people that need to learn how to, need to be taught how to learn to reflect, how to meditate, how to do so many different things. And I'm just giving some on the very, let's say spiritual plane or aspect. But there are people that need to learn all these different things. And if we stay within our base problems and think that those are the problems that we need to be consumed by, or that those are the problems that are the biggest ones that are consuming us, without giving thought to our, let's say, our hierarchical problems, then how are we going to triumph and get in the place of going, okay, I understand, or it may be true that I may not have the resources or those connections or the current know-how or almost any of the things that I need to get to saying, okay, I want to heal people, whether that's being a nurse, whether that's being an alternative healer, whether that's being a comedian and making people heal through laughter. No matter how you approach this, we all have to learn those same things, the know-how, get those connections, those resources, but we have to say, okay, we have to make the choice. And we talked about this in one of the previous episodes, and the importance when I reference hacked, and I mentioned how the decision, the commitment, and the transformation are all actually one. It is by understanding that I made the decision and I'm going to stay committed to that decision, that will lead me through and actually create the transformation. And so that's so important for many of us to understand and go, okay, I may not understand how to get to square 5, but without even thinking about how I can really move from 1 to 2, it's already creating a bigger issue than getting to square 5. It's creating a much more relevant issue because we cannot get to 5 without getting from 1 to 2. And so I think thinking of those, again, those hierarchical issues, which are, what am I really put here for? I wanted to do, and I'm going to do an episode on this, but the choice of, because I believe that we all incarnate and we do all of this through choice. We choose those that we wanted to. Like people say you don't pick your family. I feel like in the grand scheme of things, we definitely do, and we incarnate into vehicles that we feel are going to be able to express the needs of our soul best. So people would say we don't pick our fam and don't pick all these things in these situations. I'm not with that school of thought. So I say that it's in this problem. We also choose our issue. It's like those things are the different sides of the coin. The problem or fear is like everyone says everything, or love is on, or everything you want is on the other side of fear. And it's the same thing with that different side of the coin. If we can begin to see that the issue is actually the reps or the resistance or the the antagonistic vibration that we need to actually work with and work through to actually incorporate and go, okay, I've now mastered this. I've mastered this tool, or I've mastered this understanding, this vibration. I am now one with this. Better almost than saying mastering it is a nice way to start to look at it, because then we can start to see how we can start to raise vibrations, and understanding that each thing is, everything is like that. Manifesting anything, manifesting money, manifesting relationships, manifesting on any kind of level is learning and incorporating these kinds of understandings. And so there is no different than when you learn to transcend vibrations and move within that we say it's the same thing. It's mastering a skill, and that's all energy really is. And or that's what all learning a skill really is incorporating vibrations, understandings, and interpretations to really work with us. And so I say that that's so important in being bigger than our problems, because when we start to look at it like that, we may start to go, wow, okay, so I thought that all my problems were for me. Now I understand I need to work out my little stuff so I can get to working on the bigger things. And so I can start to say, okay, well, if I do want to educate, then you need to learn, how do you want to educate? Do you want to do that online? Do you want to do that in a classroom setting? Do you want to do, how do you feel you're going to be most effective? And of course, you're gonna have to try things. I always say we need to try things within our spiritual journey so that we can actually feel what is right for us. But we have to start to create that. I always talk about the 𝗕𝗿𝗃 and that bridge to the heart and to our inner self. And so we could connect personality to soul, and then soul to deity. And it's no different. It's no different here. We have to learn to start to create that bridge and that vision in our mind. And again, not say, oh, I'm looking to get to step 7, but I don't have any of the things necessary. We say, what's step 2? And then, okay, how do I get some connections? How do I find that person how do I find my mentor? How do I find the vibration or the image of the vibration that I would like to mimic and learn how to incorporate and eventually elevate to and make our new standard? And so that's really what it is about being bigger than our problems. Our problems and issues, again, I say everything is about awareness. Our problems and our issues are not that at all. They are actually the stepping stones, again, to move to the new platform and the new height that we seek, which is really just an elevation in consciousness. So I said that the next video is actually going to be on awareness, but here we are. And so here we are, naturally going back into, like I say, that loop back into what is and getting deeper and at the heart of it. And so if I started to explain it anymore, we're going to go down deeper or rise higher into a new level of the awareness and the understanding of which I've been explaining. So that whole awareness piece is going to be for another video, but I do love how things segue so perfectly. And as I was thinking about this video right in my meditation and doing my 5 to better rights, I was like, oh, I have no bullet points, and I've been a little bit, again, apprehensive about making, the videos, excuse me, as I haven't done them as much as I was, and I was just thinking about the intro for it all and just laughing and trying to just thinking about being more personal within it, and thinking like, I typically like to do more like the Lil Wayne. I like to hop in the studio, get the lights going, get the setting going, and just hop on and actually tap into that stream. And sometimes I get in that, or I start to allow the excitement turn to angst and anxiety. And then before you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I don't have anything? Maybe I should write bullet points. And no, this is where I like to be. This is the flow. This is what I like to give. It's that natural place. That's what the elevated discussions are for. That's a more scripted, version of what we do here. And that's what Into the Universe is for that's the even most formal version of this. And so I like to come here and give the stream of thought so that the expression is exactly what it's meant to be. And that's what's most powerful to me about coming into Waking Wellness and coming up with that episode. Again, I thought awareness because I was like, that's the thing that's sort of on my mind most. And I was sort of forcing that and I could feel that. And then out of nowhere, as I was just meditating, I felt myself expanding and going into my heart space and just going, all that other stuff doesn't matter. No matter what, you have to triumph over your problems, over your issues, your fears, because without it, that means that you're getting dwarfed by them. And that means that you will not rise to the occasion because they seem to be towering over you. And you guys saw in some of my last postings where that was about Akasha, interdimensional travel, the Merkaba and the Atakarana, and going into pretty much our inner avatar and seeing how we're on that road and we build that bridge to the inner us that's just lighting up at just this source of energy that we know or can also be called Atman. And it is I don't want to just say the individualized self, but it is on the most grand scale, I would say, if that makes sense. And it's just powerful because that's really what we're talking about. And that's really what I'm streaming. And that's what I was pulling in as I was meditating. I could just feel Atman calling me. And that's always what I strive for in communication. I realize that's beyond ego. I don't like to talk or do this it's nice getting likes and getting people talking and giving comments and starting that dialogue. It feels good because it feels like being in flow of purpose. Like that's not what I do it for. And time again, when I get into that flow and when I get into the reality of the situation and the energy of the now, I realize and I laugh at times when I think like, oh, that video only got 3 views, like, man. And I laugh because it goes, that's not what it's for. Of course, the vision is to grow and expand and to reach those as many as possible. But the real vision is to reach those that it's meant to reach, and that happens in the time that it is, and it will. And knowing that it will, that's part of the faith, and understanding that it's that incremental momentum. But again, it's a power of being in the flow and that stream that I really love. And that's really what sent me down the road of, and it's funny coming back to awareness, that's what my original thought was. And we're going to end up ending off in awareness. But understanding that's what the bigger problem is. And I really want to get away from calling problems or issues. And because really they're the welcoming to the what you want. So I don't know the word that I want to use yet, but it's literally the welcome home to the version of self and the version of you that you really are envisioning at its grandest, and that yourself has held on for you and is waiting for you to realize and self-realize. So it's important to me. Obviously, it's important to me, and I think that it's important to the world for the fact of our problems. Everybody has problems. And I think when we can start to see problems for what they are, they're really what is that? I just want to use impetus. I don't know if that's impetus, but they're really the driving force for a solution. Without a problem, you're not looking for a solution. Without a problem, you're not looking for a solution. And that's, I could go I know I'm pausing. I could go so far deep into that, but I don't even want to go too far into that. I just want us to start looking at them because so many people look at it with the negative connotation and vibe, like, oh, I got these problems, or I have this da da da. When more so, it's like, okay, sometimes you're short of breath. Just do a little bit more cardio. Like, that's and it's good for you. It's not like the solution is a bad thing. It's actually the wake-up call to be, again, closer to. It's like, okay, you want to speak about spirituality. Cool. You may not want to speak in front of people. All right, cool. Get over it. I have to be bigger than my problems. Cool. I don't even really like to be in front of the camera. Now I have a much greater affinity for it, but before that, I was like, I'd rather be behind the camera. Now it's more like, all right, I have to learn to be bigger than my own problems or my own non-desires. I don't want to be in front of the camera. So now it's like no, I do, because now it's like calling me out. And I'm like, now I have to be to a certain degree, and I have to be at a certain place and within my mind to feel, okay, I'm doing so, not just coherently, but I'm doing so in a way that is also, again, affecting change, and the change that you desire to see. It's something that you have inside, and you are making that choice for you. And that's what makes the difference. Because that's the experience before the experience. Or people do internships, and sometimes it's not paid. Like, sometimes you shadow who you want your mentor. Like, before the money came the experience. And that's very much so true. And the more successful, you may think like, oh, you're making so much off, oh, maybe they acted in your favorite movie or your favorite TV show or whatever it is, and you're just like, they're doing at that high caliber, and you want to already jump in there, but that's not the reality of the situation. Like, it's the experience before it. And if you can come in with that same and or with more energy in your experience days before the money comes in, or that thing which are really just bonuses before some of those connections that you may have been like, oh my God, I never even saw, or some of those trips and destinations, then you damn sure when the money starts to come in, you going, I'm going, and hopefully you keep that same energy, or you rise and you just keep expanding, and you go, I'm about to go just as crazy, if not more, and just give that different kind of effort, always bringing that best effort forth. We talked about being your best self in some of the few episodes before this. And again, part of in the 4 agreement episodes, and consistency and being extraordinary versus or over normal. That's exactly that quality. And what that really takes, again, is the commitment, the decision, the commitment, and then the transformation, and understanding that relationship and changing our relationship to the understanding of that relationship. Going, wow, okay, before I was really trying to dodge out on making a decision, or I'm cool with making the decision, but the commitment kicking my ass, so I'm out. Like, and so the transformation doesn't come. Or, oh, the transformation is coming and I love this phase, but then when you get in there, you get so excited that you forget about putting in the reps again, so it all falls off. And then, the first 2 start to win, and then the transformation also starts to die down. So understanding, and when I say understanding, we all know what I mean. Having awareness, so therefore you really understand and accept within is true understanding. Having the awareness that those 3 are linked, and the actual way towards, really that's the way towards and through being bigger than our problems, really getting that and accepting and going, all right, that's what I want. And now I'm going to stay committed. We're going to now make that change. And I can go on forever. I can really go on forever, but I think that was a good end for the rest of this episode. I can go on forever, but I think that's a great end to this episode. So we're going to sign out. This is Wake and Wellness. I love you guys. Health is well.